Okay, so apparently 12 minutes of footage has been uploaded. So I actually have been avoiding any spoilers. I maybe have seen like a few of them, but all right, let's do this. Sorry. Sorry. I want that watch so bad. Can someone lend me $2,000 so I can get this watch?
Code 6, all staff initiate emergency protocols.
He's so funny.
Mr. Kennedy, we need to leave immediately.
What's going on?
I don't know what's happening. Some kind of mass has...
Oh my god, my parents are gonna like come in here and they're like, what's wrong with you? Many things.
hysteria. The hospital is on lockdown. Doctor.
There's something clearly wrong with him. I wouldn't linger personally, but that's just my personal claim. Hello? Like, why didn't Leon react sooner? He could have definitely prevented the situation. He has to be over it.
I think I want a second opinion.
They did mention in the showcase that he can take other, like, enemies' weapons and use them against them. I have a feeling the chainsaw's gonna be a popular one. Or I have a feeling they're gonna find a way to, like, meter the chainsaw. Because if this is, like... I'm seeing this from a speedrunner's point of view. There's no way that you can just have the chainsaw the whole time, because the thing is with Resident Evil games, especially in Resi 4, like speedrunning, at least I don't know if like Resi really builds games with speedrunners in mind, but when you speedrun Resi 4, you don't get the certain weapons until certain points of time. So I feel like this will change a lot, because a chainsaw, depending on how fast you can kill somebody and how quickly you can upgrade your weapons, if you can even upgrade them at all, especially on Leon's side, because this is survival horror more than like actual like horror. It's more like action horror. I forgot. It's more action horror with him, and then survival horror with Grace, because Grace is more limited supplies. With Leon, you can adapt more, and you can literally use the weapons around you. So I wonder if they're gonna meter that chainsaw, or it has like a certain battery, because if so, I can already tell that speedrunners are going to abuse the fuck out of that chainsaw. Gives you the vibe of playing Hunk a bit. Maybe. I didn't play Hunk's chapter in the DLC in Resident Evil. I'm not seeing any flashbangs. I wonder if that's gonna be a thing. He has a decent rate of fire, which makes me think maybe he's just gonna come preemptively with, like, certain level up, if you think about it, from level 4. Or from Resident 4.
Hey, over here.
See, now he's helping. Okay, well, I guess she doesn't last long. I thought she was gonna be a reoccurring character that's gonna last, like, the whole game. Unless we get spoilers that Leon kills her.
I'm Grace. I should go off.
Can we give props to Grace's VA? Cause like, holy shit, she's doing a really good job. Not saying like the other VAs aren't doing a good job, but especially Grace's VA. Oh my god, I hope she gets an award for this, or like gets nominated. Cause like I'm already like absolute cinema.
You should leave.
Okay, so this is how they'll keep Grace from, like, being right next to Leon most of the game.
Take this.
Oh, we're gonna give her the
You might need
Requiem.
it.
That's the name of the gun.
Now go. Get out of here.
I'm so
I'll be
invested. The Resi engine. We love her. Dino engine. Her architecture is also wonderfully done. I'm surprised this kind of dropped silently. I didn't know until Twitter said something. I find it very interesting that her POV has been marketed fully for first person, but not Leon's. We haven't seen any version of gameplay with Leon's, like, first person. So, I know there's, like, reasons for that because of the whole survival versus action horror, but I wonder if, like, you can actually play first person as Leon. It would give more of, like, an arcade shooter vibe, I think. Counterpoint, all the ladies want to see Leon. True. It's very schmexy. I'm so hyped for this game, you don't understand. Once I'm not so broke, I'll pre-order it. Paying for a debut is very expensive, guys. Oh, 1 bullet, thanks Leon. I know with Grace, this is gonna be more like, it's better to sneak away or run off. But I like that they added somebody with very realistic reactions. Like, it's such a unfamiliar thing too, especially because it's been a minute with, like, Ethan and... I would say Ethan at the beginning, Claire, for, like, really having a nervous reaction to this really f***ed up situation going on, because this is, and honestly, an apocalypse that just never goes away. Because we had the incident in the mountains, in the mansion, then we have Raccoon City, then we have Spain, and then we have a situation in Africa. I forgot the specific location in Africa, forgive me. It's been a minute since I played 5. We have a situation in China, and I think a couple other locations in 6. And then in 7, like, nondescript Europe. 7 and 8, nondescript Europe. Yeah, because then he moves to Italy, and then he gets thrown back into the fuckery of situations. So, and I think it's still somewhere in rural Italy, because I think the house is called Benevento, which is Italian. So, this is like, this has to be like adjacent to Raccoon City, no? Because we haven't seen anything in the ruins of Raccoon City. This is all in this hotel. Or like Peace Center, or whatever the fuck it is. So, I'm really curious. I feel like my prediction... let's just watch the rest of the video before I put my predictions down on the game. I'm just surprised they added so much. Okay, thank you could toggle off your flashlight. The zombies still have, like, some instincts of, like, their past life or whatever before they're infected, which I think is going to be really painful. We're really going to have, like, an emotional moment for these zombies. What the f*** is this? Okay, we get another gun, a B934. With no bullets, mind you. I think it's cool that she genuinely checks the bag. I think for her, definitely the speedrun strat will just run. That'll definitely be the strat, just run, because, like, unless you can hit your headshots consistent. They can throw? Oh my god. That's so, like, creepy as f***. But I love it. Resi being Resi again. Was she, like, an opera singer or something? That's really cool. I love it. I love, like, themes to the zombies. This is so cool. Oh, great, another puzzle. I'm sure I'm gonna hate it. Yep. So she's gonna have knives. She's not gonna have the hatchet.
Shit.
These zombies, I don't know what difficulty this is on, or if this is just the way the gun is. But obviously, since she's not, like, an agent compared to Leon, and she hasn't, like, really been in the thick of it like this, and she's more of, like, a, on paper, more anxious person. I think killing zombies will be infinitely harder. Especially since it seems like Leon can go through these guys with ease. What the f is that? Yeah, they're like vaguely speaking. They're saying, "God damn it." Go back, go back. You can use infected bits to make ammo. Interesting. Like, this injector makes sense. Like, don't get me wrong, that makes sense. But using scrap and infected bits to make bullets, I'm a little bit in disbelief. But I really like that they put extra detail in these zombies. Like, there's like a whole... They're not just like copy-paste zombies here or there. Like, there's like... You could see like a little bit of like a background story to these characters, even if it's like minor. So we look at the storage containers again. I feel like that rec room's gonna be our magnum gun. Those arms. They got bigger. Ooh. I like me a man with some arms. I love Leon Kennedy. I don't know if you guys can tell. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. He's got a little bit of hip sway. I see that ass. I'm rewinding to hear that again. 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 One more time for the audience. Where does his jacket go? I'm not complaining, I'm just wondering why this seems to keep losing jackets. I wonder if this is gonna be your... Mr. X, like you can stun him in a way, but you can't like kill him. Okay. I feel like Grace's gameplay is gonna be longer. I just feel it. Like, I feel like Grace has longer gameplay. I feel like that's such a generic theory, but like with games like this, you never know. Alright. So I feel like Grace will have more gameplay because I feel like in order to have some level of artificial difficulty, besides the old one where you have to use increments to save, but by the way, having increments to save is kind of fucking insane. But I feel like, especially for speedrun strats, that's going to be super vital because if you've never speedrun a Resi game before, in order to 100% the game, not 100%, but like basically do everything you need to all the way up to professional, in order to do that, you have to have a limited amount of saves in your professional run and do it within a certain time frame. So I think Resident Evil 4... And this is the part of the video where I start telling you a bunch of lies, so let me not do that. Basically, in this segment of the video that I'm cutting out was me guesstimating off the top of my head what the requirements were for S Plus on Professional for RE4 Remake, because that's what I'm comparing this game to. So let me not tell you the wrong numbers. In actuality, for S Plus on Professional, you have to have 5.5 hours and 15 maximum saves for Leon's campaign, and it must be a new save, not on New Game Plus. And then for Ada's campaign, it's supposed to be 2.5 hours on a new game with only 10 saves. I actually threw out some crazy number that was not correct, so let me cut that out. So when did this came out 8 hours ago? What's this one then? Obviously, we can tell from the images Leon is infected. Leon is infected. And I feel like that's going to be a story plot point. Now, here's like my hottest take, my hottest theory out of like Resident Evil. I don't think Leon's going to die. Maybe it'll be like Dead Rising 2 with the Zombrex system. It could be like that, but I feel like there's only so much they could change about the formulas they already have out there, because there's two formulas basically going on with Resi. Survival Horror, which is the newer formula they brought in for Resi 7 and 8, which I think, in order to get the grasp of Grace's gameplay and story, you need to play. You don't need to, but in order to get a grasp of it, I would suggest playing RE7 and 8 because it's leaning more into that kind of style. Versus Leon, you could just play RE4. Just play RE4 or RE6 because that one's more action horror than anything. Because Leon doesn't seem to be struggling or afraid because, you know, of course, he's older. He's done this for a very long time. So I'm thinking more than likely, in order to get the hang of speedrunning or playing Leon's part, RE4. Don't even bother with 2, RE4 and RE6 because that's where he really is in definitive control of most of the situations. So I feel like by the end of this, because I know for sure they're going to close out Leon's story because there's no way that they're just going to do all this bullshit and just keep Leon in the game because that man will die before he hits 80. There was something on Twitter that really had me peaked. Here is another thing that I believe will happen that I know some people just will not agree with me. Ada's going to return in this game. I haven't played Outbreak yet. I know there's a way that I cannot discuss here on stream, but I do need to at least properly understand Outbreak because there's no way they just brought back Alyssa for no valid reason. I don't think Claire's coming back in this game. Like I would bet money on it, even though she was like somewhat part of the RPG story. I don't think Claire's coming back. I don't want to hear it. I like not like I don't want to hear it, but I just don't think it's gonna happen based on what I like have seen and heard. Here's the thing that kind of like bothers me. They say they're closing the Raccoon City chapter because if you really think about it, we don't really unless I'm missing a game. I know I've skipped Revelations, but unless I'm missing a game or something, Jill never properly got back about the whole RPD thing or the whole Raccoon City explosion. There was more than just Nikolai and other people setting up for it. I know Umbrella at some point is dismantled. We never see that dismantlement of Umbrella, if I remember correctly. At least in the remake version of the stories. I know that Louise said by the time we get to RE4, because I think RE2 takes place like, what, 6-7 years before RE4? And RE4, Umbrella's already dead. Like, oh, it's already done, over with. So we don't ever see the proper dismantlement of Umbrella. We've just been seeing it being set up frame by frame by frame by frame. In next story, there's just a new version of it. So Umbrella is still technically going if we really think about it. Because I think in RE7 and RE8, that's the new version of Umbrella. Even though it's not called that, it's not like super scientific, it's still Umbrella. I still haven't finished 8. I know I need to, but I just don't feel like it. I'm gonna be honest. That's what I'm thinking. A hidden section of Umbrella, but again, spitballing. I think. Oh. Are you wait, Clayton, are you saying that like this version of Leon's a clone, not the actual Leon? And that's like an affected version? That's what you're saying? Oh, okay. That would actually is a theory I can kind of get behind. I'm not saying it's true. I'm not saying it's definitive, but I'm gonna write that down. That actually could be really funny. That'd be really cool if it was. Like if Leon was dead or retired this whole time. What was it? 7 and 8? Ethan was secretly a clone. You know, that could make sense. Wait. That could make sense. I'm gonna sound like such an I feel like to outsiders I sound like he's actually a clone, guys. But like no. Let's discuss some of this here. Wait a minute. That could be that could be a clone of Leon.
In this showcase,
we're going back over the showcase because I didn't stream it.
Resident Evil Requiem, which will release next
so
month.
They made it a whole
February
point. They made it a whole point to let us know that like we have all these shots. Would a clone have the jacket? Yeah, you're right. Because in the car he doesn't have it. I was gonna say, what if like Elpis is just a version of Las Plagas, but then Las Plagas literally was killed when they destroyed the Amber. Yeah, she's gonna return for sure. Oh, I definitely think so for sure because we haven't really had a game or like a core game where she wasn't there. She was there in 2, she was there in 4, she was there in 6. That was the last time we saw or heard anything of her. And this is something that people are missing out. She was supposed to be in Village. I don't think you would do all this work to have a 3D model and have all these story beats intended for Ada to be in Village and then not do it. Because if she wasn't so important to Rezi, they could have not made these Separate Ways DLC, and they didn't have to make her such a core titular character in RE4. Now, I know they reworked a lot of stuff, like her interactions with Krauser, and I believe somebody else, I can't remember. But I just don't think they would go to all that effort and do all this for a character that they didn't care about or intend to bring back. Anyways, maybe Leon's kidnapped in some kind of clone factory, so they have infinite 10 out of 10 baddie soldiers. I don't think they would go that far. But what if the, like, creatures, like those big ones, if you saw, like, the big, like, deformed woman and the deformed, like, big creature we saw Leon fight, what if those what if those were like attempts of clones? Because the thing is, as much as insane that sounds, cloning is not the most there was literally RE6. The entirety of RE6 happened because Simmons was trying to clone Ada, and he ended up successfully cloning Ada. So I wonder if this is like a part, like a somewhat continuation of RE6. I think we're past the mold virus. I think this is a completely different one, but I think Elpis has to be related at some point to the past few viruses, because I think every virus evolved from other ones. I wouldn't rule it out. You wouldn't rule out that Leon's a clone, or like that, like the creatures are clones. Some of them have to be. Like, some of them are actually infected, because we saw in the trailers, like, they actually do get infected. But like the monstrous, what if that creature that Leon killed in the beginning of the video we just saw was a clone of Alyssa? Like, that was a failed clone of Alyssa. Like, the big creatures are just failed clones of other people. Super Soldier program gone wrong? I feel like Super Soldier's a bit much, because if you're looking for a Super Soldier, why aren't you looking for Chris? That's my argument. Why aren't you looking for Chris? Why aren't you looking for Jill? And also, I wonder if Leon is still fucking grumpy in RE9. Like, I wouldn't be fucking happy either coming back, but like, compare this Leon to, one thing for sure is, I think Death Island isn't canon. Like, are you telling me these are the same people we're seeing in Resi 9? I don't think so. This, in a way, kind of confirms that the cinematic movies aren't very canon. Or canon to an extent. Because how do you go from recovering from being an alcoholic? Because if we look at the timeline correctly, especially for Leon, because this is the only character besides the other one, what if they're trying to get, like, traces of Las Plagas out of his blood, seeing how he cured from it, and trying to make a stronger virus? It could be that. I think it's very interesting that we hear a different voice in the trailer, in the intercom, to Leon. That's not Hunnigan. I'm pretty sure that's not Hunnigan. I feel like they could intentionally go out of their way to not clone Jill or Chris, though. I don't know how to explain that. Well, at this point in the story, from what I remember, because this is, like, basically the timeline for Leon, Chris. I'll try to, like, do it as best as I can. So chronologically, in order from most relevant games. I know there's more games in between this, but this is, like, I'm talking about most relevant. Resi 3, which is Jill. Resi 2, Leon and Claire. Resi 4, Leon. Resi 5, Chris and Jill. Resi 6, Leon, Chris. Which I find it really fucking weird that Jill wasn't in that game. That throws me off so bad. Why wasn't Jill in Resi 6? That throws me off bad. Because they're both part of the BSAA at that point. Because in Resi, right after Resi 6, it's the movie Vendetta. Or I think it's most of the movies. That was supposed to be like her quote-unquote like ending story or whatever. I know that they rumored that they were going to do another movie and maybe have Ada or Sheva in it. I know they bring up Ada so much. That's why I'm so insistent on the idea that she's coming back. There's no way that they bring up, like, if you've seen any interviews or, like, seen any, like, tweets or rumors from the staff, they bring up Ada a lot. They really like her. There's no way they didn't just not put her in Resi 9. There's no way that's not happening. They're definitely closing out both of Ada and Leon's stories, though. I don't think there's going to be more gallivanting from Ada, in my opinion. I feel like, what else could be a plot point? I don't know if you saw, but they are having ink ribbons, and that's required to save, at least on Grace's part. I don't know about Leon's part. I think what we're gonna do is it's gonna be like Grace's part, then you gotta play Leon's part, and then after that it's Grace's part of the story where she basically has to follow through after Leon or play alongside Leon at certain points. So I think we as Leon are opening up doors or bringing opportunities metaphorically and physically to Grace. I think the final boss fight is gonna be a Grace boss fight. Like, I think Leon will have one, and then it's gonna, like, cut, and then it's gonna be Grace's part to help in the boss fight, and she's gonna be the one to finish the boss fight. That's a possibility I'm throwing out there in terms of gameplay in what I think is gonna happen. Playing both Resi 4 and the DLC separate ways will definitely play a part into how they structure this game. Because if you remember, when you're playing Resi 4, you know, you're playing, like, basically straight line through Leon's story. You don't know anything about the fact that Ada's there till way fucking later. And with separate ways, you're basically kind of playing backwards a little bit. Like, you play kind of where Leon already went, and you're aware Leon is there, and you're kind of playing alongside him, and you're unintentionally changing the map and opening doors and doing stuff like that for Leon. But then, you, like I said, you're kind of playing backwards, because you kind of start from one point of the village, and then you go backwards, and then you get to one point in the castle, and then you're kind of going backwards in certain areas as Ada. So I don't think it'll be like that in Resi 9, but I think you're going to be doing stuff as Leon that's going to unintentionally change the story or, like, parts of the map for Grace. Remember that room, remember, right? That's the same room. That's the same f***ing room. That's the same zombie. Which makes me think Grace's gameplay is gonna go first, and then it's gonna be Leon's. Because, especially like I said, the strat here might just be playing as Grace, you skip killing zombies at certain aspects or certain parts. Like, I think her strat is gonna be more like gun and run. Versus Leon, you can kind of take your time, you have more resources, you can find more things, blah, 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 blah. That's why now that's definitely confirmed my idea of you play as Grace and you play as Leon. And you go back and forth, blah, blah, blah. And you definitely have more bullets and weapons accessible to you. So, at some point, you're going to be in a completely different part. I keep going back and forth, I'm so sorry, this is so confusing, but he already has the shotgun there. So that means at some point, Leon encounters that big boss, gets the shotgun, and then comes down here to the main hotel. So yeah, final area is RPD or something connected to the ruins of RPD. Because, like, there's just no way they showed so much in the promotional material in the first few trailers that... like, there's no way they would show all of this and then it just doesn't happen, you know? I feel like this is, like, a lot. So I'm gonna go back to the first trailer. Now that we have all of this lined up, we can look back at this trailer. Like, look, they show this whole expansion of the city. There's no way that we don't go here. There has to be something here.
Investigating all these...
I just think there's no way they don't go back to RE. Like, they have to go to RPD at some point. There has to be something to do with RPD. Because there's, like, if we were completely past it, if we completely were closing the chapter on it, why bring it up? That's just my theory. They're gonna show it, because let's compare it to the RE4 remake. Like, I want to see the trailer in comparison to what we got. This was actually the game that really made me want to stream more. This music here, I think, was played before, for the beginning of the Ada DLC for Luis's Flamenco.
Condor 1 to Roost. I've located Baby Eagle.
This was in the flashbacks. This is just a general view. I'm still salty. Only content creators get to play the demo. There's a fucking demo? Okay, it's been roughly 5 years since Resident Evil Village concluded Ethan Winter's story, ending a huge chapter in this iconic series. Now, Capcom is looking to shake things up again with Resident Evil Requiem, a game that brings together old and new surprising results. Ahead of its February 27th release date, Screen Rant was invited to go hands-on with the upcoming survival horror. I played roughly 3 hours of the game as both Leon and Grace fighting for their lives in a hospital filled with monsters and nightmares. What I found was a game of two halves, but one I can't wait to explore further. There actually is upgrades. That just debunked one of the theories for me. No weapon upgrades. I lied. Scribble that out. That literally just got debunked. We made a theory and we got it debunked in a day. Let's go. Admittedly, I was unsure how the series go after the end of Village, but after spending a few hours in Raccoon City with new and familiar faces, I can't wait to see what the game has in store for full release. Also, this is very specific wording here. Raccoon City with new and familiar faces, plural. So, because it could have just said Raccoon City with a new and familiar face. Or new faces and maybe even a new faces and a familiar one. New and familiar faces, plural. That is very specific wording, I think, at least. If Screen Rant, especially for their writers, I feel like that's very specific wording. Because that means plural familiar faces. Which is why I think there's going to be a few more, like, Raccoon City survivors. That's what this is, like I said, very familiar. Because Raccoon City was destroyed, so why are we back in Raccoon City? Why are we saying Raccoon City? Because I don't think Renwood's part of Raccoon City. The hospital isn't part of Raccoon City. Unless it is built on top of what used to be Raccoon City. But that'd be really, like, weird to hide. That'd be a weird place to place something. So, I think definitely we're returning to Raccoon City. I think that one theory is we are going to be playing a part of Raccoon City. Even though it's technically destroyed. Unless this person just wrote that to write it. Okay, we're just comparing. Okay. There is one part here that didn't make it to the final game of the state of the game. Which was this part. This part didn't make it into the final state of the game. This was initially supposed to be in a prequel chapter that didn't end in the game. This is part, like, that Act 2-ish.
You will receive our most sacred body. It begins now.
That's our final boss. We're just spitballing theories. I'm just showing comparison, guys.
If I could just forget what happened that night. The pain.
This is part 1.
Even for a second. This time, it can be different. It has to.
So this is part of the demo. So I think the trailers we're seeing is part of the demo. So in comparison to the Resi trailers, because this third trailer, I think is only showing us the beginning half, because we only saw, like, and they said the demo is 3 hours long, which in comparison to the first demo, what was, like, maximum 45 minutes? And I went through the demo really quickly on my first playthrough, so it's 45 minutes. And then this theory I'm going to keep away, just so I don't... This is just a running theory.
The team has settled on a person of interest. Someone with ties to Umbrella. Victor Gideon.
So Umbrella's not dead. Okay, I forgot about that. Umbrella's not dead. Because Victor's connected to Umbrella. That makes me think for sure Ada's gonna come, especially because of the whole Umbrella thing. Because there's no reason to either.
Over here. FBI. What are you doing here?
Would you like to see what's hidden under the hood?
Don't do anything stupid.
Me? Never.
We're in the streets. Whoa. We're in the streets
Don't do
here.
anything stupid.
We're not in a building. Some part of it's gonna be out in the public. No fucking way. We're actually gonna be playing out in the public.
Me? Never.
It'd be really funny if there was a driving section. So yeah, definitely there's some motivation to him. I definitely feel like he's trying to cure himself from whatever he's got going on, which is probably Elpis. I feel like I've yapped all I physically could from what I know, but basically I think we're only seeing parts of it. So we got Leon City gameplay. My thing is, I could say all of this, and then some of it's not even in the game. Like, Leon driving, we might not get, like, a driving gameplay. I hope we don't. I don't like driving gameplay. Driving gameplay is so bad for me. I'm so bad at it. I don't want to, like, think about it preemptively, like, oh, they're gonna cut this out. I'm just keeping it in mind, like, okay, I'm gonna talk about it as if they're not gonna cut it out, but in case they do, you know, my theory is just a theory. But I think I've talked about all I physically can. If another theory just randomly hits me, I have my pens here.